Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought it'd be really fun to bring you guys along as I work in my reading journal. I'm going to be creating a spread based on the book What Beauty There Is, written by Corey Anderson. I just love that book so much, and I really wanted to create a spread dedicated to that book specifically. So I just brought out some of my crafting paper that I bought recently, along with my alphabet stencil, so that way I can stencil in some quotes. And I was really excited to get into this crafting paper that I bought. I had ideas for it when I seen it, and I knew I was going to use it for the spread specifically. And then I have my butterfly cutouts because I really wanted to use those. And then I have the book on hand so that way I can reference some of the quotes. So let's just go ahead and get started. So I've been having this idea where I wanted to create a spread based on the character Ava. I kind of wanted to do, basically I wanted to make a theme where it was kind of like as if she made her own personal diary, if you will, about Jack. And I just thought it'd be really cute to kind of base a spread dedicated to that book because I loved it so much. I enjoyed it so much, and it was just very heartfelt, and it's just so sad. It is a sad book, I'm not gonna lie. It's very tragic, but I love that book. I connected with the characters in so many ways, and to this day I still can't stop thinking about them. So I just thought it'd be really fun to create a spread, and I just thought it would be fun to create one where it was basically as if Ava created her own journal spread, if you will. I know it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, but basically I just wanted to incorporate some things that I felt were kind of her taste or that would fit her theme. So I just wanted to add something with hearts on it, and just kind of not the girly vibes so much, even though I love girly vibes, but for her I just wanted to make it a little more her style. So I roughly drew this sketch of Jack, and I did the illustration based on the book cover, so it is not my original drawing whatsoever. It's just a really rough sketch. I haven't drawn in so long, so it is kind of rough, but that's okay. I still wanted to incorporate it anyway. I thought it was good enough, and yeah, I just wanted to use it and incorporate it into the spread. And in my mind, I'm just pretending as if she drew a sketch of Jack, so I went ahead and drew him, and I'm going to incorporate it into the spread. So right now I'm just working on cutting out the page to fit to the journal. So here I'm just slipping the picture into my watercolor pad so I can kind of trace it and make sure it fits to the size of the journal. So as you can see here, I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm just basically cutting the page to size. So right now I'm just outlining the picture with a pen, and I'm just making sure I do a rough outline so that way I can cut the page or the picture so that way it can fit into the size of my journal. Now for some reason, when I was cutting this side of the picture or of my drawing, the blade was really, basically it was tearing the page a little bit. It wasn't doing like a straight clean edge, but which is totally fine because I did plan to basically tear the sides of the page instead of doing straight lines. But here I was just trying to roughly get an estimate of where the page was going to fit into the journal. But either way, it worked out totally fine because I was going to tear the sides out anyway. I just also want to mention again, this is not my original drawing. I basically used the image of Jack on the book cover. I used it as a reference, and I just roughly sketched him out. So it's not my original drawing, just so you guys know. I used the book title as a reference. But anyway, here I'm just cutting out a blank page from my watercolor pad. I wanted to add more of a thicker page to the planner or to the background of my image. So basically I'm just cutting out or outlining a new page so that way I can add it to the journal, and then I can add the image of Jack onto this page. So here I'm just cutting it to size. So basically I'm just double checking to make sure everything fits properly, and when I noticed that everything was going to fit into the journal, I went ahead and brought out my double-sided tape so that way I can stick the pages onto the journal. So here I'm basically just cutting out strips of the tape so that way I can add it to the page, and that way I can be ready to basically peel off the backing and stick the page onto the journal. So here's the really exciting part. I decided to go ahead and pull out my crafting paper because I really wanted to add a nice background to the image, and I really like this paper. This is the first time I'm using it. I never used vellum paper before. I believe that's how you pronounce it. But anyway, I just thought it would really fit the vibe. I wasn't necessarily going for pink vibes, but I just thought this one was very fitting, so I went ahead and used that. And then here I'm just, again, same process. I'm just cutting strips of double-sided tape so that way I can stick this onto the page. So here's where I was just basically choosing some scrap paper. I was trying to go with the mindset of like, what would Ava like to have in her journal if she was doing a spread about Jack? Like, what would fit her vibes or her themes? So basically I was pulling out strips of paper that I could use that kind of fit her vibe, if that makes any sense, but that's basically where my mind was going. But I was thinking maybe to pull out some browns and maybe some blues, because I do end up using this blue type of I want to say it's like a soft texture type of paper. It's very hard to explain. I'm not sure if it's cardstock, but it's very soft. But anyway, I do end up using that blue paper. If you can see right there, it's like a blue greenish color. But I was thinking like if maybe, I don't know, a piece of his jeans tore and she kind of kept it just for a memory. So I was kind of going along with that kind of theme or that kind of vibe. Just things that I felt like she would use into her journal. So basically here I'm just roughly cutting out the page because I really wanted the image to look like a really rough sketch, like as if she physically drew him and she just wanted to capture a certain memory of him, and it was just like a rough drawing. So I just liked it to look more of like the natural vibes and not like the straight paper kind of look, like straight edges. So here I'm just cutting out the parts that I really didn't care to show into the journal. So basically I'm just cutting around it, and I was perfectly happy with the way it came out. And yeah, so here I'm just making sure I like the placement, and I just continue playing around with some scraps that I have. I'm really happy with these. I was really debating on using that glittery paper, but it just didn't end up fitting the vibe, even though it's still very pretty, but I just didn't end up using it. So like for instance here I'm just choosing this brown color paper because I was just trying to add texture, a lot of browns and basically dark colors. I wasn't trying to go for the pinky glittery vibes because I just was really in the mindset like if Ava was making a spread, how would she do it? And I felt the colors that I chose really fit that vibe, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I just really love this book. I just really love Jack. I love Ava, and I just really love them together. It was just such a sweet book. It is just it's so sad, you guys. It is a sad book, but oh my god, I love it. I still can't stop thinking about it. So I just really wanted to do well on this spread. I really wanted to create that vibe. So yeah, basically I was just playing around with my scraps here and just messing around with some placements and just seeing where I would like the pages to go. So as you can see, I just laid some brown paper, and here I'm just adding more double-sided tape to the craft paper that I'm using. I will say that I do enjoy using the double-sided tape more as opposed to glue stick. I just feel the double-sided tape works a lot better as opposed to glue stick, even though I've used glue stick a lot. But I just feel the tape is a lot cleaner and it just sticks a lot better as opposed to the glue stick. It tends to basically come apart over time. So I just prefer using the double-sided tape. So basically here, all I'm doing is playing around with my placement of the crafting paper that I decided to use. I really like this paper. To me, it reminded me like of a denim look. And I was just thinking like maybe if Ava kept a piece of his clothing that tore off, like a piece of his jeans, and she just decided to keep it for a memory. So I really like that look. So I do end up using that. And then here I'm just cutting out strips of black paper because I really wanted to write some quotes down. So I'm just cutting out some pieces. And then I just play around with the placement a little bit just to be sure to see where I wanted to add them. So here's where I pull out my butterfly cutouts. I was really excited to pull these out because when I seen these, I had the idea and I just had that vision and I just knew where I wanted to place them. I knew the kind of spread I was gonna make, so I had these in mind when I bought them. So I was very excited to pull these out and very excited to use them. So as you can see, I was very determined to make this glitter paper work. I just love glitter. I love the shininess of it, but at the end of it, I really didn't care for it. To me, it just wasn't fitting the vibe. So here I was just messing around with it to see if I'd like it or if I can convince myself to use it, and it just wasn't working. It wasn't working at all. But here I was just messing around with it a little bit. I was trying to add butterflies to it to see if I liked it, and it just was not fitting the vibe. It was just way too shiny and it just wasn't working out. But that's why I really like that I didn't glue anything down or tape anything down. So that's why I really recommend, if you're doing a spread, kind of lay things out first before you add glue or tape to it, so that way if you don't like it, you can easily just remove it. And here I just went ahead and decided to use more of the heart vellum paper, because in my mind I was just thinking, like, if Jack gave her a present at some point, she kept the wrapping and she used it to journal with. So that's where my mind was going. So I basically decided to add more of that, and then here I'm just playing around with more of the crafting paper and making sure I like the placement. So here I decided to pull out my alphabet stencil, and I'm just basically stenciling in Jack's name with my white jelly pen, and I just really like the way it came out. I think it came out really good. So here I decided to put the label I made with Jack's name in front of the denim paper. I thought that looked really good together. And then now I'm just messing with more of my crafting paper. I'm just messing with the placement as well as my butterfly cutouts to make sure I like the placement before I taped everything down onto the page. So moving on, here I'm basically just writing down some of my favorite quotes from the book, and I'm using my white jelly pen to write those down so that way you can see the writing against the black page. And I really love these quotes. They're basically quotes from Ava and her thoughts of Jack, so I just thought that'd be really fitting to add onto the spread. I want to mention that I did mess up a couple times when I was writing down some of these quotes. I just didn't care for my writing. To me, sometimes the writing didn't come out as sharp or as clean looking. So all I did was simply flip the paper over and I just rewrote the quote. So the quotes that I decided to use for this theme, I just thought they were so beautiful and very fitting to the theme that I was doing. So for example, I wrote down the quote, "Looking back, I think the butterfly flapped its wings then." And I just thought it was very fitting with the butterfly cutouts, and I just thought it was so beautiful. And then I also wrote down the quote where it says, "I replay that memory in my head sometimes, the minute I first saw Jack. Sweet, angry, quiet Jack." I just love that. Those are quotes from Ava, and I just love them so much, and I just decided to use those for this spread. I thought it was so fitting, and it just fit the vibes perfectly. So here's where I decided to pull out some of my stickers. So for instance, I just pulled out my pop-up stickers that I bought recently, and I really wanted to use these flowers. They're kind of like these purpley reddish vibes, but I just thought they'd be really pretty and really add some pop-up color. So I just decided to use these for now. So once I was happy with the stickers that I decided to use, as well as the placement, I went ahead and pulled out the book so that way I can write down more of the quotes that I liked. I really enjoyed the writing of this book. I love the writing style. The author just did a fabulous job because the writing is just so heartbreaking, but at the same time, it's just so poetic. It just grabs or tugs on your heartstrings. It's just so beautiful. So anyway, here I'm just writing down more quotes onto the black paper that I cut out, and that way I can add them onto the page. So here I'm just writing down the last and final quote that I wanted to add to the spread. I just thought it was so beautiful and very fitting, but it's simple. It basically just says everything changed, and I just thought that was very fitting to the style. And obviously if this was Ava's journal, I just thought it'd be very fitting to add that quote to the spread. So lastly, I decided to add more of my butterfly cutouts. I just thought they were very beautiful and very fitting to the overall theme. So I just decided to add a couple more before I finished off the journal spread. But overall, I love the way it came out. I just felt like if Ava made this journal spread, this is how it would come out. And for someone who hasn't drawn in a very long time, I was very pleased with my drawing. But overall, this is the overall look, and I really love the way it came out. I just thought it came out so beautiful. I fell in love with it. I really did enjoy this process. It was a lot of fun, and I'm just so happy I got to do this spread. And lastly, I did go over the edge of my drawing with this alcohol marker. I just thought it tied everything together, and it kind of gave it a finished look. But yeah, here is the overall look. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you did enjoy this video, and I look forward to seeing you all next time.